Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Louise Minchin and Charlie State.
Our headlines for you today. Boris Johnson promises a one-way road to freedom as he sets out his plan to relax England's lockdown restrictions.
There is light ahead, leading us to a spring and a summer which I think will be seasons of hope, looking and feeling incomparably better for us all, and from which we will not go back.
Meetings inside could be allowed from mid-May, with June the 21st the earliest possible date when all restrictions can be lifted.
In 7 weeks, you'll be able to get your hair cut and head to the gym, but it will be a longer wait before you can eat inside restaurants like this one. The hospitality industry says it isn't fair and it doesn't make sense.
Outdoor sports can restart from the end of next month. Gyms can reopen in mid-April and up to 10,000 fans could be back in sports stadiums by the 17th of May, just in time for the Euros.
Our best ever view of a landing on another world. Stunning new footage of the moment NASA's Perseverance rover arrived on Mars.
Good morning. It's going to be a windy day for us all today, especially though in the west. And in the northwest of the UK, we're looking at some heavy rain, which could lead to some flooding issues. Drier and brighter the further south and east that you travel. I'll have more details in about 10 minutes.
Morning, it's a Tuesday, the 23rd of February. Our main story for you. Boris Johnson has revealed his plan to end lockdown in England, which could see COVID restrictions fully eased by the 21st of June if strict conditions are met.
The Prime Minister says his plans over the next 4 months are cautious but offer the best chance to avoid another lockdown. Our political correspondent Ian Watson has this report.
It's been a long, hard winter, with some of the things we used to take for granted now beyond reach. But the Prime Minister says with a successful vaccination programme, the end is in sight.
This unparalleled national effort has decisively shifted the odds in our favour. But with every day that goes by, this programme of vaccination is creating a shield around the entire population, which means that we're now travelling on a one-way road to freedom.
And what are the milestones on that road? On March the 8th, all children in England will go back to school. 2 people from different households will be allowed to socialise together outdoors. Care home residents will be allowed 1 regular visitor. From March the 29th, 6 people or 2 households can meet outdoors, and outdoor sports facilities will open. From April the 12th at the earliest, non-essential retail and personal care, such as hairdressers, will reopen. Gyms will be open too for individual use. Outdoor hospitality, such as beer gardens, can open up. And from May the 17th at the earliest, most restrictions on meeting outdoors will be lifted. 6 people or 2 households will be able to meet indoors. And indoor hospitality, yes, pubs and cafes and hotels will reopen. From June the 21st at the earliest, the remaining restrictions would end. Some of Boris Johnson's own MPs think the pace of change is too slow. He says a cautious approach is more likely to mean any easing of restrictions won't be reversed. But this can't be absolutely guaranteed.
The intention is that it should be irreversible, and that's why we're going in the way that we are. That's why we're taking the steps that we are.
And even when existing restrictions end, some familiar paraphernalia of the pandemic might remain. Masks may still be advisable next winter, according to the government's chief scientific advisor. And there'll be a review into the use of what the government calls COVID status certificates. This has raised the prospect of people having to provide proof that they've been vaccinated or had a recent negative test to access some venues and possibly some workplaces beyond June. So if a vaccine-busting variant doesn't disrupt things, life is likely to feel a lot more normal by the summer, but perhaps not quite as we knew it before COVID struck. Ian Watson, BBC News.
So we'll be talking about all those changes throughout the programme this morning. Speaking specifically to the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, at 7:30.
Nicola Sturgeon will set out her plans for easing lockdown in Scotland later today. It's thought the First Minister will announce a return to a regional system of restrictions, with the first priority getting more children back to school, followed by more social interaction for adults.
Airlines and holiday companies say they have seen a surge in bookings in the past 24 hours. The increase comes despite Boris Johnson's confirmation that a ban on foreign travel will remain in place until at least mid-May. Self-catering breaks in England will resume on the 12th of April at the earliest.
The United States has become the first country in the world to record more than 500,000 coronavirus deaths.
President Biden's described the milestone as heartbreaking and held a candlelit ceremony at the White House to honour those lost to Covid-19. David Willis has more.
In the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the cathedral bell has rung with growing frequency of late, marking each new coronavirus milestone. And in an address to the nation, a president whose own life has been marked by the loss of loved ones spoke directly to the relatives and friends of the 500,000 Americans who've lost their lives to COVID-19.
For the loved ones left behind, I know all too well. I know what it's like to not be there when it happens. I know what it's like when you are there, holding their hands. There's a look in your eye and they slip away.
An erratic response to the pandemic under President Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump, has been replaced by a ramped-up vaccination program, a significant fall in the average daily death toll, and talk of getting the country fully vaccinated by the end of July. This country has lost more lives to the coronavirus than any other nation on earth, more than in the First, Second and Vietnam Wars combined. And at the White House, where candles were lit in memory of the dead, the president and vice president emerged to observe a moment of silence. Flags will remain at half-staff here and in public buildings across the country until the end of the week.
The chair asks all members in the chamber, as well as members and staff throughout the Capitol, to rise for a moment of silence.
The House of Representatives also paid tribute to those who have died, Democrats and Republicans united in solemn reflection. Later this week, the House is expected to vote on one of President Biden's biggest legislative priorities, a nearly $2 trillion coronavirus relief bill. David Willis, BBC News, Los Angeles.
NASA has released stunning new pictures captured by the Perseverance rover after its dramatic touchdown on Mars.
Yes, the footage shows the final minutes of last week's tense descent to the Red Planet, as our global science correspondent Rebecca Morrell now reports.
The parachute has deployed.
From the release of a supersonic parachute to the shedding of a heat shield.
First look at the surface.
An out-of-this-world view Mars has never seen before. As the rover nears the surface, the dust is kicked up. Then a change of camera as Perseverance is lowered on ropes before touchdown.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars.
And the landing system is jettisoned away.
We can't test it on the Earth. So this is the first time we've had a chance as engineers to actually see what we designed. And I just can't, it's hard for me to express just how emotional it was and how exciting it was.
There are new still images too, a selfie of the rover. And a vista of the alien world it now sits in, providing a glimpse of the terrain it's about to explore.
Now has radar lock on the ground.
This footage is already providing crucial information to scientists, and they'll continue to study it as Perseverance gets to work. It's just a taste of what's to come. Rebecca Morrell, BBC News.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.